Hey YouTube man, Tech Hunters there, doing another action figure review, and today we're doing a Halloween spooky style figure. Well, I suppose you could call it a Halloweeny style. It's one of the Universal monsters, but it is a mashup of one of the Universal monsters mixed with Turtle TMNT or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is Casey Jones as the Phantom of the Opera. So if you're not familiar with Phantom of the Opera, it's a classic Universal Monsters movie about a disfigured organ player, basically. I'm not too familiar with the storyline myself. I just know the character from images where he dons a mask. It's usually a quarter mask. It's not like a full mask. It just kind of covers quarter of his face, like the head that I have on him at the moment. He does come with alternate heads, so we will go through that. Now, unfortunately, I do not have the box for this guy. I picked this guy up back in May, April, thereabouts, when I was over visiting my brother in the States. And because of limitations on luggage, because I was flying back, I couldn't fit the box in with it, because I picked up both him and the crossover, the Universal Monsters crossover Leonardo, the first version, not the newer Creature of the Black Lagoon version, but it's the first version, which was the Hunchback or Igor / Hunchback of Notre Dame style one, where he has the opening shell and you can store all the little bits and bobs in him. But this guy is pretty cool. So we will start by grabbing a tape measure and seeing how tall he is. Now, he should be in scale with most 7-inch scale action figure lines. So you can see he does stand maybe a hair over the 7-inch mark. He's just a little bit tall. So if you have anything along the lines of other NECA properties, I'll bring in Ming the Merciless here. Ming is fairly short, but you can see he does stand close to scale. If you have stuff from the McFarlane Multiverse lines, he should stand in with that. Here is Lucius Fox. So you can see he almost is nearly head height to Lucius. So you can see he is pretty much on par with Lucius. And that's without the stand that he came in. If you have... Do I have one of the old standard turtles close by? I do not. Actually, I do. I'll get one of the turtles, the movie style turtles. Now, these guys are decoed in a kind of more movie style than the animated style. So here's one of the movie style turtles. This is a Donatello. So you can see the scale. The turtles tended to be a bit smaller than the human characters, so you had that. For something, we have Super 7's Lady J. So you can see her standing alongside him. This is more cartoon orientated, so they wouldn't look too off on a shelf together, but they wouldn't look like they fit in the same universe, because you know, one has a more animated look than a more realistic look. But it depends on your personal preference. And then for another figure that I have that is in a similar scale, it is a Diamond Select figure. It's one that I'd forgotten I had. In fact, I have 2 or 3 of these. I think it's 2. And I picked them up quite some time ago. This is one of the Toasters, aka the Cylons from the reboot Battlestar Galactica from the early 2000s. So it is a tall individual. It is quite tall compared to Casey here, but I'm just going to move him off to the side. And then we shall get on with Casey himself. So as you can see, he's holding one of his 2 melee weapon accessories. He comes with 2 hockey sticks, which is a traditional thing for a Casey Jones character. So for his main accessories, weapon-wise, he has 2 hockey sticks, which are done in this kind of brown, nicely brown painted kind of wooden color with black tape wraps all the way around them, which is quite nicely done. And then for his defensive kind of style things, he has two hockey pad gloves. So the one has kind of a more padding on the right or the left hand one, which has these little spikes. I think they're supposed to be nails, possibly. I'm not too up on my hockey stuff because we generally don't really have it over here in Ireland. I think there is hockey teams, but like it's very niche and not very followed, I suppose is the best way to put it. It probably has its own following, but like just like anything, the right hand one is done in a kind of brown leather look, and it has a kind of aged washed look to it, which is really nicely done. Hopefully you can see that on screen. And then, as I said, this one is more red. It also has a wash over it, kind of make it look aged and worn. It has this kind of skull and crossbones sort of motif going on, which is pretty cool. So out of the packaging, out of the packaging, he does come with a default head. The default head he comes with is this one, which is the kind of more traditional Casey Jones style hockey mask. It is more, it's aged and weathered, and it's not as clean as his standard one is. His hair is actually more matted as well, even though like Casey Jones is kind of known for having a kind of matted look. But you can actually see, again, I'm not sure if the light is picking this up. Hopefully it is. Maybe see if we can adjust the light a bit. But on the eyes on the mask, just inside, it does look like they're kind of damaged in the sense that there's scarring going on. Whereas on the normal Casey Jones figure, it has the, I can't remember the actor's name, the movie version of it, the 90s movie version actor, whose name escapes me. You can clearly see it's his head underneath that, whereas this kind of has a similar look, but it also has a kind of more deranged eyes look to it. And then his other alternative head, which is kind of cool, is this skull. So you can see there's a peg hole underneath for where you can plug it in. It's pretty much a kind of standard Neca style skull. I don't think it's the same reuse as the ones that come with the Predator figures. It looks different to it. It is a slightly more oblong shape, but it is a cool look to it. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the articulating jaw, which is what they did give for the Phantom figure. The comic book style Phantom figure comes with a articulated skull that you can swap out for the head as well, which is kind of a cool thing. Something I'm not overly familiar with the Phantom figure, but it is what it is. For hands, we got a set for at least 4. Well, in total, it comes with 6 sets of hands, or 6 pairs of hands. It comes with 2 punching fists, which are 2 closed knuckle fists. You can see the hands are actually wearing those, or they have, there's an open fingerless gloves with the kind of knuckles exposed. So you have that going on for him, which is something the traditional Phantom of the Opera didn't have. The Phantom of the Opera was a fairly plain designed character. He was wearing sort of an old style tuxedo or a suit, which is similar to how this guy is dressed. We'll get into that in a second. But he also comes with these grip hands, these more open grip hands. And then he comes with a tight grip hand for both sides. And then he comes with these hands. In fact, he actually comes with 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He actually comes with 7 hands. So there isn't a corresponding hand for the smaller grip, or is it this slightly more outer grip? I don't know if any of them are designed to hold a skull. I'm assuming there might be a kind of a skull holding hand. So kind of a almost Shakespearean, oopsies, a Shakespearean Othello. Is there Othello? I believe it's Othello. Could be wrong. I'm thinking Othello. You know, alas poor York kind of style pose, if you want to do that. So you could probably get him to do that if you wanted to. Again, the head that's on him is pretty cool. You can actually see that scarring underneath his mask where it's been broken off, and you can see his disfigured face. The head is on a ball joint. It actually has a great range of movement. The cowl and neck piece is, I believe it is separate, or it's attached to this soft goods cloak. I believe, if I remember correctly, this was he comes with this already attached on him in the box. I don't remember having to place it on him afterwards, but like swapping out the heads is just as easy. Ooh, I can do it. Probably not a good idea, because I know heating up these things is probably better. Actually, I'm not going to do it on screen because I could overstretch the thing, but you just pop it off. Recommend heating this up before popping any of the joints off. It's similar with when you get them out of the box. Heating them up is a good option. Now, the only thing is, because he has this soft goods cloak on, you might want to heat him with a hairdryer instead of the hot water method, because it will ruin the soft goods fabric that is on his coat. If you can remove that, I think it's removable if I remember correctly. You could take it off and then dunk him in the hot water just to loosen up his joints, because he does have a waist swivel. He doesn't really have much in the way of diaphragm joint, because this is a soft goods kind, or not soft goods, this is a pliable plastic piece or pliable rubber chest section with the suit sculpted detail, but it is over kind of a body buck. His arms can rotate at the elbow and has a single joint, but it does give a good over 90-degree bend. His arms can move out that much. There isn't a bicep swivel, but they can rotate around. He does have rotation on the wrists, or in the wrist, and then depending on which wrist or which hand you have in, has a hinge on that. He can do the splits that much, but it is hindered by this diaper crotch piece, or whatever you want to call it. You can see he is detailed all the way up the back. You see where the suit buttons wrap around to the back. He does have a kind of cool mishmash of hockey and that kind of, you know, opera suit, tenor sort of suit singing thing. It is very kind of, I wouldn't say stained, but there's washes on it to make it give an aged look. So it's not a stained look, but more an aged. It's not as bright, like it's not bright reds. They're kind of muted with kind of aged on them. He has the thigh swivel, as that he can kick forward. He has double jointed knees, and then there is a swivel in the top part of his knee. Nothing in the lower, and no boot cut. But then when it comes to his feet, he's wearing kind of, they almost look like soccer shoes. I'm assuming they're hockey, some sort of hockey shoe. He kind of reminds me of, his lower half kind of reminds me more of cricket, like he's wearing a cricket uniform. But I guess that kind of mashes in with his bats and, you know, hockey sticks and stuff like that. It's either a old style hockey style look, or it is a cricket look, depending which way you want to look at it. But it is quite a nice figure. I will say he does have a wire cape, or wired cloak, so you can kind of pose it in different areas. Does the wire run? The wire doesn't run along the bottom, it just runs down these front sections. So there is that. But it is quite nice, and it does fit quite nicely onto the figure. As I said, I think it is removable. I don't want to try it by popping the head off on screen, because I could break. Again, NECA figures tend to be on the more fragile side of things, so I do recommend heating things up before moving them off or swapping them out or changing parts. But for the most part, you should be easily able to swap out parts just by, you know, as I said, heating them up and then popping them out. So he is quite a good, cool looking figure. I do recommend picking him up if you're a fan of Casey Jones, and if you're a fan of Phantom the Opera. There is an actual NECA Phantom the Opera figure. So, and there is actually, I think, did they do one of the Turtles? No, I'm thinking of the Invisible Man. Donatello is the Invisible Man, which has a kind of similar, kind of old style look, but not quite the same. For more size comparisons, here is the Mike figure from McFarlane from the Stranger Things line. And we'll bring in another one of those Super 7 Turtles, Super 7 G.I. Joe figures. And then for something a bit more movie-esque, I suppose, we'll bring in Oswald Cobb from the Batman movie line. This is the only version of him I believe McFarlane has done so far, unless there's a Platinum Edition version, but I think this is the only version. Hopefully they might do one based on the TV series. I'm not sure if they have the licensing for that, but the figure, or the TV series, is quite well. It's quite good, actually. I've been watching all of it so far from what I can see, and it's actually quite an interesting take. So there you go, guys. I'm going to wrap this up here, and this is hopefully a small spooky Halloween themed video review for you for 2024. So I do recommend picking this guy up. He's been out a while now. He's not like a brand new, but if you have a chance to pick him up, I think he's pretty cool. Has a good, good range of accessories, and does look good on the shelf. Even if you're just getting him to be on his own, he has a kind of cool presence on the shelf, and he would fit in easily with other Universal monster stuff like the Wolfman, Mummy, those kind of characters. So if you have some of them, he might look pretty cool on the shelf next to those as well. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, have a great day, and I hope you enjoy your Halloween outings this year. And as always, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Cheers, guys.